Hello, everyone, and welcome back to A Better Me, the podcast where we explore practical ways to become the best version of ourselves every single day. I'm your host, Kay, and today we're diving deep into one of the most requested topics building daily self confidence. Now, before we jump in, I want you to think about this for a moment. How many times have you looked at someone who seems naturally confident and thought, I wish I could be like that? Well, here's the truth that might surprise you. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's not a genetic gift that some people have and others don't. Confidence is a skill, and like any skill, it can be developed, practiced, and mastered. Let me start with a story. Last week, I was working with one of my English students, let's call her Sarah. Sarah had been learning English for 2 years, but every time she had to speak in class, she would freeze up. Her vocabulary was excellent, her grammar was solid, but her confidence almost non existent. So I asked her a simple question: Sarah, what's the smallest English related thing you did well yesterday? She thought for a moment and said, well, I understood a song on the radio without looking up the lyrics. That's it. That was her small win. And here's what I told her. And here's what I'm telling you right now. Confidence comes from recognizing and celebrating these small victories. Every single day, you do things well. You solve problems, you help others, you learn something new, you overcome a challenge, even if it's just getting out of bed on a difficult morning. So here's your first practical exercise. Starting today, I want you to keep what I call a victory journal. Every evening, before you go to bed, write down 3 things you did well that day. They don't have to be huge accomplishments. Maybe you had a good conversation with a colleague. Maybe you cooked a meal you enjoyed. Maybe you helped someone with directions on the street. The key is consistency. Do this for just 1 week and you'll start to see a pattern. You realize that you're more capable than you thought. Now let's talk about doubt, because we all have it. That little voice in your head that says you're not good enough, you will fail, or everyone will judge you. Here's the thing about doubt. It's not your enemy. Doubt is actually your brain's way of trying to protect you from potential failure or embarrassment. But here's what most people don't realize. You can use doubt as fuel instead of letting it paralyze you. Let me give you a technique I learned from sports psychology. It's called doubt transformation. When you feel doubt creeping in before a challenge, whether it's giving a presentation, starting a new project, or even just picking up in a meeting, instead of fighting the doubt, acknowledge it. Say to yourself, I notice I'm feeling doubt right now. This means something important is at stake for me. This matters to me, and that's okay. Then reframe the doubt as preparation energy. Ask yourself, how can I use this nervous energy to prepare better? Maybe you'll practice your presentation one more time. Maybe you'll research the topic a bit more. Or maybe you'll just take 3 deep breaths and remind yourself of your past successes. This brings me to one of the most powerful tools for building confidence: your internal dialogue. We all have an ongoing conversation in our heads, and for many people, this conversation is surprisingly negative. Think about it. If you had a friend who spoke to you the way you sometimes speak to yourself, would you still be friends with that person? Probably not. So let's change that internal voice. Here's a simple but powerful technique. For the next week, every time you catch yourself thinking something negative about yourself, I want you to pause and ask, would I say this to my best friend if they were in my situation? If the answer is no, then reframe it. Instead of I'm terrible at this, try I'm still learning this. Instead of I always mess up, try I made a mistake and that's how I learn. Here's something counterintuitive. You don't build confidence by thinking confident thoughts. You build confidence by taking confident actions, even when you don't feel confident yet. This is what I call acting as if. If you want to be more confident in social situations, start acting as if you're someone who enjoys meeting new people. Walk into a room with your shoulders back, make eye contact, introduce yourself to one new person. You might feel uncomfortable at first, that's normal, but here's what's amazing. Your brain will start to believe what your actions are telling it. Psychology calls it embodied cognition, the idea that our physical actions influence our mental state. So here's your challenge for this week. Choose one area where you want to feel more confident. Maybe it's at work, maybe it's in social situations, maybe it's in pursuing a hobby or skill. Then identify one small action you can take every day that a confident person in that area would take. If you want to be more confident at work, maybe you speak up once in every meeting. If you want to be more confident socially, maybe you give one genuine compliment to someone each day. The key word here is small. We're not trying to transform overnight. We're building a foundation brick by brick. Now let's be real for a moment. Building confidence isn't a straight line. There will be days when you feel like you're back to square one. You'll have moments of self-doubt. You'll make mistakes. You might even experience and shake confidence. This is completely normal and actually part of the process. Confident people aren't people who never doubt themselves. They're people who bounce back from doubt more quickly. When you have a step back, here's what I want you to remember. One bad day doesn't erase all your progress. One mistake doesn't define your abilities. One moment of doubt doesn't mean you're not growing. Think of it like learning to ride a bike. You fell down many times before you could ride smoothly, but each fall taught you something about balance, about steering, about momentum. The same is true with confidence. As we wrap up today's episode, I want you to remember this. The goal isn't to eliminate all self-doubt or to feel confident 100% of the time. The goal is to develop a healthier relationship with uncertainty and to build enough self-trust that you can move forward even when you don't feel completely sure of yourself. Confidence is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And just like physical exercise, some days will be easier than others, but consistency is what creates lasting change. Before our next episode, I challenge you to do 3 things. First, start that victory journal we talked about. Second, catch yourself in negative self-talk at least once and reframe it positively. And third, take one small confident action every day in an area where you want to grow. That's all for today's episode of A Better Me. Thank you for spending this time with yourself, investing in your growth, and choosing to become a better version of who you were yesterday. If this episode helps you, please share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And remember, every step forward, no matter how small, is still progress. Please subscribe to this podcast. I'm Kae, and this has been A Better Me. See you next week.